last week, we did what was called a disaster response management simulation training. Randy was there with us. Thank you, Randy, for making the venture to Las Vegas with us. It was a lot of fun. And basically, it's a board game that they have set up to simulate a disaster.
Look to them if you want to talk. I can hear you fine.
Well, I'm looking at everybody. Let's see. Oh, you can see me there too. You can see me everywhere, Rick. So it was a really fun experience. Randy, do you mind if I call on you just as a volunteer to share your thoughts about, because it was a lot of staff with some volunteers mixed in, some leadership volunteers.
Sure, if I have service, because there's going to be a time period I won't have service for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, talk away. Tell us what you liked most about participating in it.
Everything, and meeting the people, talking to the people that I've been working with, being able to see the basics of a disaster, and how everyone just has to work together and get the shelters, all the other things going, and a lot of unknowns, and ready to just rock and roll depending upon what happens. And I think we had really good teams down there. It was a lot of fun and a lot of learning.
And the one thing that I really like about it, besides all the networking, getting to meet people from around the region that we don't typically get an opportunity to meet. We did also get to meet some people from Wyoming, some people from New York were there. But that game really simulates how fast-paced things move and how quickly that decision-making has to be done, and really how much the job director has to rely on the other leaders at the table to make recommendations and suggestions in order for the operation to be successful. And Sonny walked in at the perfect time because he has a lot of experience out on operations, and I'm sure he can tell you some amazing stories about incredible job directors who delegate and really use their team well, and then other job directors who tend to micromanage, and things can unhinge rather quickly. That team is there for a reason, and that game really sets you up for either success or failure in relying on your team. So I'm hoping to become an instructor, and I would love to just play it here with our team as well, because even if you don't have a ton of disaster experience, it's just a fun way to get exposure to all of the different things that you have to consider and go through the process. We're talking about disaster response management simulation, the course. So that's why I was in Las Vegas.
I just took it again in December.
So what did you think about it? As a volunteer, what's your feedback on it?
I think it's a good course. If you haven't had a lot of time in disaster response, then it's wonderful. I was repeating the class, so I had some of it before, but it's very good, and it's very good to work with people in teams, and you learn also new people in how to communicate and work with them well in problem-solving scenarios that are typical in a disaster. So yes, it's certainly a good, worthwhile class.
Yeah, and not offered too often just because there's not very many instructors. Sonny, can you instruct it?
I can instruct.
So I think we'll be seeing you here in Northern Nevada in the future, just because I think between Sonny and I, we will be able to instruct it. I basically need to do my co-teach or my teach back. So thank you, Randy, for sharing. Thank you very much, Sonny, for sharing. You guys can see everybody who's online. So really great experience, but did consume most of my week. And that's my big excuse for not having the agenda ready for our meeting. I do apologize. I was also making chili all day, which was very important. So I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I did. But for all of those of you online who are making their way this way, we have an all Texas meat chili. We have an all vegan chili, and then we have a mixture chili with meat and beans coming up. Because I know there's a huge debate, especially in Texas, whether chili should have beans. So we're gonna like try it out. I personally like all of them. And I really like the vegan chili too. So we'll see. I hope you guys can make it in. The other thing that we need to kind of touch on is we've had a really increased number in DAC calls this month. For some reason, compared to February and January, which are normally our big months, it's kind of carried over into March. And I'd say we've had about the same number of calls in March that we did in February and January already. And we still have another few days to go. So I want to thank all the DAT responders who've gone out. Rick, have you gone out on any calls? I thought you did. Where did you go?
North Reno. Same place you and I were last year. Same building, just a couple units over.
Really? And I think that's the last DAT call I've been on, was that long ago. Because we have such an incredible team in Northern Nevada that rarely do I, as the DPM, get called to support on calls. If I do, it's usually out in rural calls. So thank you, Rick. Thank you, all the responders who've gone out. And that report will be updated and shared out with everybody tomorrow, along with the agenda. We have also had a very, very active home fire campaign team. They've been going out every week, and I'm going to pull up the email I received from Linda today that gave me the numbers, because they have been at it. She sent this to me actually yesterday. So just this month, they have been to 5 residences. They've served 8 people and installed 23 smoke alarms. Oh, no. These were all on the 20th of March. So just last week they did that. And we've been getting a lot of calls, it looks like, from the Douglas County Senior Center outreach we did, which is awesome. I think Barry has been out there doing outreach in Douglas County and has been going to some meetings, and we've been getting our flyers out like crazy. Another place where we just did a lot of outreach was at the big Easter egg hunt that was sponsored by, they're called CASA, and I know that there's an acronym in there, and I wish I knew it, but I don't. But several nonprofit organizations came together. I think, Betsy, are you on the call with us? How many organizations were there?
I think that they had 90 nonprofits there.
90? 90?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So an incredible opportunity for us to be out in the community, collaborate with everyone, and really do some outreach to our Hispanic community members. Betsy said we didn't have enough bilingual materials to hand out. So next year, we're going to be invited back. We'll be sure that we have as much as possible to hand out and do that outreach, especially to everyone who may not get it. We did have a ton of door hangers that had English on one side, Spanish on the other. So a lot of home fire campaign outreach occurred, and we're hoping that we get more requests. And what's wonderful too about that is Kirk, who does all the coordination for our home fire campaign team. He's bilingual. So he'll be able to support those requests as they come in from those individuals from all those communities. So thank you, Betsy and Jen, for being there, rocking it, and hanging out with all the kids. Jen, we heard a little bit of Betsy's feedback at the last meeting, but what did you think? Did you have a lot of fun at the event?
Yeah, no, I thought it was very well put together, and the time really just flew by.
How long were you guys there?
About 4 hours, or 3.5, 4. We had to get there a little early. But I don't know if Betsy told you, but we were the first booth you saw when you came in the door. So we were like straight through the door. So that was kind of fun too.
Nice. And Betsy, she ballparked it. She said probably about 400 people visited the table, which is really incredible. So thank you guys both for being there and handing out our home fire campaign materials and just doing outreach in general, especially to our youth. So,
Where was this?
CASA is court-appointed special advisor.
say it one more time, Betsy.
Court-appointed special advisor. So they
Oh.
work with children who are being removed from their families.
Okay. So and they sponsored the event, but there was 90 nonprofit organizations there. I think all different types of nonprofits. I know Ashley's Closet was there that Erica's daughter manages, and that's like basically giving out toys and stuffed animals. What other types of organizations were there, you guys?
They did have some government organizations. Washoe County Health was there. REMSA was there because they were in the same room we were in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed the various beginning of the conversation. What event are you discussing?
It was a big Easter egg hunt event. And what else was it, you guys? That's kind of was my understanding of it, is that it was kind of a big family Easter egg hunt event.
And it was. They had it organized. They had six separate Easter egg hunts. So you hunted by age group. So they had under 2s, then 2s to 4s, and 4s to 6s, or something like that.
And then,
And they gave out 45,000 eggs, we heard.
wow. And then they have like 3 rooms of other nonprofits that people can visit, similar to like a resource fair.
Right.
Where was this held?
And where was it? Where was it at, you guys?
It was at the Boys and Girls Club that's on El Rancho in, I guess, Reno, maybe it's Sparks.
Okay. Awesome. Well, and the feedback that Erica received, she coordinated the event. Erica is in our volunteer services recruitment team. She said the feedback was excellent, and they're looking forward to having this next year. So now that we've participated once and we kind of know better what to expect, we can definitely have a lot more of the bilingual materials on hand. Anything else that you guys recommend that we have available for next year?
No, our table looked really nice. Erica set it up for us. And having I know that the reason that you folded up the sheets we passed out was so you could put those Pockies in, but it made them look special. And I think that probably just the fact that people had to unwrap them probably made them more likely to be looked at when they got home.
Very good. I like it. Cool. Well, we'll be sure to do it next year. And we're actually almost out of Pockies, which I don't know if you guys know, but we started with a lot of cases of Pockies. Thanks to Erica, because she has a partner that donated and said basically we can have endless supplies of snacks donated. And they're close to expiration snacks, but we get them free and we can pass them out for free. And especially when we don't have swag, it's really nice just to have something. So we'll be sure to do that again next year. What else happened since our last meeting? It's been a couple of weeks. Could I bother one of you guys to go get the door? Thank you so much. We have more people arriving in person. I did the home fire campaign update. I did our disaster action team update. We have a lot of things upcoming on the calendar, and I'm going to go to a spreadsheet that you guys are not really familiar with, just to use as reference. We use it during our preparedness work group meeting to do our planning coordination of preparedness events. So we have on the 6th a really big event. Again, hello, that Erica coordinated with University of Nevada, Reno. We have about 100 students. They are doing, I guess it's an event called iServe. We're expecting about 50 to 100 UNR students to help us do door hanging all around walking distance to UNR. We need a couple of volunteers to help support, but really they're doing most of the work. We're just kind of giving them instruction on what to do. We're going to start with the Be Red Cross Ready presentation. So they all have the education that we're trying to share with those in the communities that they're doing outreach for. So that is a super exciting thing that's coming up on the 6th. On the, and excuse my reach, you guys, on the 14th, Gail Bursell, Sandy Marsh, and Sherry Raysinger are going to be doing the Red Cross Ready and handily CPR presentation to an HOA called Toscana Village. And on the 24th, we're going to be doing 4 classrooms of pillowcase project at EC Best in one of our Duke communities out in Fallon. So thank you, huge shout out to Al Wagner, who's just done a ton of coordinating and outreach out in Fallon for us. And that is some of the fruits of his labor. So I think it's going to be about 100 to 150 kids in those 4 classes that we'll be doing the pillowcase project to. So those are kind of the immediate things coming up on the agenda. On the 13th of April, we're also going to be out in Fallon doing a miniature home fire campaign event. Tiandra, our executive director, she's working with community partners out there in Fallon who want to help do the installs and education and do some of the outreach. So some of the fire departments and others out there. It's not going to be a traditional sound the alarm event like we've had in the past where we go and we actually knock on doors and try to do installs and education that day. It's going to be by appointment only. So we're going to be doing as much outreach in Fallon as possible before the event to get people scheduled on a particular day, April 13th, when we'll have teams all go out there. So if you're interested in being on a team, making your way out to Fallon, please let me know. We are going to be meeting more specifically about it tomorrow morning at our home fire campaign meeting. If any of you guys can be here tomorrow morning at 9 or would like to join us online. Before I go on, does anyone have any questions about what a sound the alarm event is, what a miniature sound the alarm event is, or what we're trying to achieve by doing one out in Fallon on April 13th? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone online? Okay. Well, you guys, we might get through this meeting rather quickly today. One last thing that we have going on again out in Fallon is we're going to be doing Be Red Cross Ready and handling CPR training to the Fallon Paiute Shoshone tribe that's out there. So we have all the presenters we need, but if you're interested in going out there, joining in the fun, they're having a spaghetti feed. Food always gets my attention, and they actually serve really good food out at their senior center, which is where we will be. So those are kind of the things we have coming up right now. I'm sitting here smelling chili, and I'm hungry, and I keep talking about food, so I'm very distracted. I'm sure I have forgotten some things. Anyone on, oh, Sherry Ricingers, she would kill me if I forgot. We have our wildfire preparedness education outreach that we're doing throughout, I would say, our chapter area, but we have a couple of areas that we're specifically focusing on. One is the North Valleys, and the other is Washoe Valley coming up. We have a training if you are interested in learning how to become a wildfire prepared, I can't talk, wildfire preparedness education trainer. It's going to be on April 9th at 10 a.m. here at the office. Everyone who has participated in the training or who participates in that training will then be invited to go to Jim Rich's house on April 15th, where we're going to actually do a mock walk around of what you actually do at those wildfire preparedness education visits. And then we have dates on the calendar where we're going to be out in those 2 communities, the North Valleys and Washoe Valley. So if you have any interest in training to become a presenter or supporting those teams that are going to be going out into those communities with community partners. We educate really about that 0 to 5 foot range. It's right around people's homes where embers tend to get in during wildfires that fly in and ignite homes and then spread the fire to other homes. So that's primarily what our wildfire education is about. We also work with Living with Fire, Truckee Meadows Fire, and other partners who go into greater detail about the other home hardening and defensible space you can create for wildfire preparedness. So again, a lot coming up with that. We are potentially going to have a nasty wildfire season because we had so much rain last year and most of Nevada is still green, as crazy as that is. And depending on how many more rains and how much more moisture we get, that's just that much more vegetation. And I love the green, but my really negative side sees that as all future fuel for wildfires. So keep that in mind. We could have a pretty nasty wildfire season here in Nevada, but also in our neighboring states. So anyone interested in getting in on the action preparedness wise to help make people more prepared, that's awesome. That is a perfect segue to my next segment, which is deployment. The springtime is when we start hearing from everyone at the national level on down about updating your availability and volunteer connection, training up if you want to do more in what you've already done in past deployments, or if you're curious about deploying to support other disasters. And when I'm talking about other disasters, I'm talking about those wildfires in other areas, which we've already seen in Texas, hurricanes, which are right around season. Hurricane season technically starts June 1st. And then spring is always a crapshoot with flooding, tornadoes, and other things. And then they all kind of run in together in the June timeframe, and then again in the September, October timeframe when we still have hurricane season and wildfires. So if you're interested in going anywhere to support disasters elsewhere, and you want training to learn sheltering or feeding or government operations or community engagement and partnerships or a ton of different things and opportunities that are out there, please reach out to me and let me know so that we can get you the experience you need, first the training and then the experience out in the field that you want. All of that experience is beneficial to us in Northern Nevada because if we have a disaster here, the more diversely trained our workforce is, the more we can take care of our own when something happens. The less we have to rely on other volunteers coming in and supporting in roles that we can't cover. So it's a win-win for everybody. If you guys want any information, let me know. If you can't remember how to update your availability in volunteer connection, let me know. It's pretty easy. It's kind of cumbersome because you have to have your calendar out. You have to know specific dates when you're going to be available, not available. But if your availability is updated and you do want to go deploy in a specific thing, that's the first place they look from a national level at deployment. And they may just reach out to you and say, hey, you said you were available. Can you leave within 24 to 48 hours? So please update your availability if you have any interest in going anywhere, even if it's just within the state. Does anyone have any questions on updating availability, why you might want to update your availability or training opportunities for other positions? No? Can you guys still hear me online? Betsy, can you give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me?
I'm online. I can hear you.
Okay, good. I was starting to think I was talking to the, I don't know. Perfect. So I won't go into any more detail. I am going to pull up right now really quick so you guys can see if there's any open positions. There was only a few this morning. But they were really encouraging us to talk to you guys all about this very thing. I apologize, I thought I had this opened up. And do you guys all know where to go and look to see what open positions there are out there if you're curious? We call it the door. And I should remember what the acronym stands for, but I never do. Do you remember, Sunny? Open requests.
Request, yeah.
Yes, Shane gets the Shane winner chicken dinner. So disaster operations open requests is what the door stands for. And if I can remember my password, we'll get in there and we'll see if there's actually any positions that are open right now. They've still been looking for disaster health service workers in Hawaii. I know that they were also looking for some disaster mental health at one point. This is a little bit different than what you guys see, but I want to see what's actually available and assignable right now. Nothing. So there's no open positions right now at all. But if you're ready to train up and get ready, let me know. Or if you're interested in becoming a supervisor. There's going to be a ton of communication, I'm going to guess, in the next 2 weeks about becoming a shelter supervisor. So if you have a sheltering gap and you're currently a service associate, you'll probably be receiving a phone call, is my guess, and an email, and maybe even a text message. So that's what it's about. If you have any desire to become a supervisor, they're going to want to encourage you to train up. So what they'll find you. They'll find you. Any questions about that, you guys? Okay.
Sherry,
Yes.
I have a question. I got a email right when we got back from like Vegas, talking about immediate deployment to Utah, to the Hills, something, military base. And it was for customer service pharmacy people. Do you know what happened up there or any background on that?
No, I know nothing about that.
I saw that same email.
But Rick saw the same email.
They're looking for.
Yeah, it was Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, all in the pharmacy on the base. They reached out to the Red
Rick-
Cross.
Rick said they're looking for full-time paid staff at a pharmacy. Oh, it might be volunteer, but they're looking for
Yeah.
workforce.
It's volunteer, but it's continuing, like 4 hours a day on a continuous basis.
Oh,
So if you're not in the proximity of the Air Force Base, probably not something.
okay. So I'm not sure. It probably sounds like it should have gone out more to just the people that are in that vicinity. But if you feel like, going out there and checking it out, you could be a pharmacy for 4 hours at a time. Anybody else have any more information on that or want to share it? But it sounds like it's mainly opportunities for outside our area. All right. Anything else that I forgot or any questions that we want to go over or discuss as a team?
One more time, the wildfire training.
Yep.
What day and time is that?
The wildfire preparedness education training is on April 9th at 10 a.m. It's a Tuesday, and it's going to be here. I believe there will also be a virtual option, but I'll have to double check with Sherry Reisinger. She's coordinating all of that. And I know that Rick and Barry are still working with me, but very slowly because of me, not because of them, on our feeding efforts and getting out and coordinating with potential feeding partners. If any of you guys have a desire to join that team and help with that outreach, let me know. We also have a sheltering team that does the same thing. Bruce Burwager, he is our board member, but he's also our sheltering lead in Northern Nevada, and he leads that team. He works with individuals like Al out in Fallon to coordinate with our emergency partners, people like Jim Rich with our other emergency managers to set up site visits. So if you guys are interested in any of that, please let us know. Again, it's been a slow moving process primarily because of me, but that's what building all of these teams is about. So you guys can go do things without me. And we're getting really close to being at that point. So I think it's super exciting and there's a lot of team opportunities to serve your local community, the whole chapter, or even the region. So if you're interested, hi guys, come on in. We would love to fill our teams. The other thing that we're getting really crazy busy with is requests for presentations. So if anybody out there has any time to make phone calls, do some calendaring, I could really use your help. For all of our areas outside of the Dew communities, which is the North Valleys in Washoe County and Fallon, we're scheduling out into July because we've had that many requests. So, and I should say prepare with Pedro. We do need to do some more prepare with Pedro. So we might expand the areas for prepare with Pedro presentations. But for Be Red Cross Ready, Hands Only CPR, we're booking out into July because we've just done so many and our team's done an amazing job. But if you have time available and you would like to help me coordinate and do that scheduling, I would love it. And I need help with that. Any questions, you guys, about anything we covered at the meeting today or anything you'd like to bring to the table or community events that are happening near you that you think we should be involved in? Okay. Well, with that, we're going to wrap it up almost a half hour early, which is probably a record, probably because I didn't have an agenda and I probably forgot some things, but I'll be sending the agenda out tomorrow to everyone along with the recording of the video. And I would just say, look closely at the agenda in case we did forget to discuss anything. And as I'm going through it, I'll try and highlight any of those items as well. But with that, we're going to go eat some chili, everybody. And I hope if you're within driving distance, you come join us. Talk to you soon.